Yesterday we did cylinders. Today we're going to do cubes. Stick around to the end to see the process. Welcome to the art project. If you're new here, please hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss any videos. If you got any questions or comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comments down below. If you enjoy the video, please hit the like button. So drawing a cube is not a whole lot different from drawing a cylinder. You draw a square, you draw another square about the same size and overlapping it a little bit. And then you connect the corners. And what you'll have here is a transparent cube that you can see to the back. We're going to erase this back line here, this line here, and this line right here. And when you're done, what you end up with is a cube. So my aunt showed me how to do that when I was like a little kid. Well, notice a couple of things here. First, this line right here is parallel with the side of the paper. Your cube, your first square is got to be parallel with the side of the paper. So let's say I do one that's not perpendicular. My first square is off. Well, that's okay if you don't, if you want to have it floating in the air, you want to have it spinning around or doing something like that, that's fine. But if you want it to look like it's sitting on the ground, then you have to draw so that this line right here and all those that are parallel with it are parallel with the side of the paper. Otherwise, it looks tilted. Especially if you draw it crooked or you draw it slanted, but the tops are not. The tops are parallel with the bottom of the paper. In that case, what you're going to end up with is a leaning box. It's going to look like it's resting on the ground down here, but it's also going to feel like it's leaning. That is the basics to drawing the cube. Let me make a couple of other things obvious to you here. When you draw a square, the first square, the sides are going to be parallel with one another, and the top and the bottom are going to be parallel with one another, reasonably. The same with the second square. This line here is going to be parallel with that one and that one. And this one's going to be parallel with this one, and the top is going to be parallel with the tops and the bottom, and so on. This is parallel with this is parallel with this is parallel to this is parallel to this. And then these lines, even though they're diagonals, are also going to be parallel to one another. This is parallel to this, and to this. And that's how you end up with a cube that looks straight. That looks like it's planted firmly on the table or the ground or wherever it's sitting. It also looks correct in terms of like it looks like a cube. If you have some of the lines straight and some of the lines aren't, see how I made this line a little crooked? And let's say I've got this line right here is parallel with that one like it's supposed to be. this one's crooked, and say this one's crooked, and we'll even make that one down there crooked. Now all of these will come together to look like a three-dimensional shape, of course, but if you're trying to draw a cube, this is way off. This falls short of really being a cube. Right? It's distorted, it's warped, it's wonky. So, furthermore, the way we learned about the cylinder is this bottom part of the cube is very important. Just like on the bottom of the cylinder, the bottom oval was very important. Let me show you why. I'm going to do a basic drawing of a cube real fast, just like I taught you, just like I showed you just now. And I'm going to add these lines here. Now I can see through this cube. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and draw another cube overlapping. I'm going to draw this square back here, and well, this, I don't know if that's going to work. That didn't quite work out the way I planned. Let me try another one here. Okay, in this particular image, the cube, the bottom of the cube, and the bottom of the cylinder overlap, and they share this little space right here in common. Two objects cannot occupy the same space. So this part right here is incorrect. It would either have to be raised up or the cube lowered down. Let me show you what I mean by that. And in doing so, I'm going to correct that little part of the cube is a little messed up. So here's the cube. I'm going to do a little dotted line right here. Now all of that looks reasonable. If you look at just that part right there, that looks very reasonable. But if I add this part right down here to it, that is not possible. You cannot have this cylinder, this is a pretty big cylinder here. You cannot have it going like that, because it's basically occupying the same space. And I got it kind of wonky down there too, but can't occupy the same space. Let me draw one more correct. I'm going to draw it a little smaller. Now, to get it straight down here, my oval, I can draw through it, but it cannot overlap this parallelogram, this area down here. Now it's a little shorter in appearance than this one is. You can make it taller if you want to, but the bottom just cannot enter into that section. I'm going to draw the dotted lines. See how they do not overlap right there? And that's pretty much all there is to it. However, we're going to take it just a step further for our practice sheet that we're going to do in our sketchbook. These cubes need to face different directions. Basically, you can alter the shape of the cube, make a long rectangle if you want to. What happens if I put a square here and it's matching square over here? And then connect those corners. You end up with a more like a block, a long rectangular block. What if I put the square here and then the matching square really close to it, or further overlap it more? What happens if I overlap the square more and then connect its corners? I have a trace this long one for you. All right. Also, what if I do the square this way and then overlap it on this side? Our box is going to be facing slightly different direction. Right? So all of this kind of comes together to create a page. We're going to create a page of blocks. I don't want the bottom of my cube, the bottom of my block, to overlap the bottom of this block. So I'm going to keep this right about here. We'll connect here and here and here. And now I have a tall block standing on its end. Ooh, that was bad. Sorry about that. All right. That is block making. So again, for good measure, we practice in our sketchbooks, and I have my students draw as many boxes as they can fit on the page, drawing through the images as much as possible to make sure that they get the lines correct and going in the right direction. They must overlap. They must fill the page. And must go from the bottom to the top. After I get through with laying it out a little bit, it got real confusing, as you can see, and there are a lot of lines. And so I went ahead and started tracing over the correct lines. I didn't do any erasing. I just made the correct lines darker
with a Sharpie pen. And then after I got a lot of Sharpie pen or all of this done, then I went back and added more boxes, more cubes behind these existing ones. I hope this was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. If you want to find me in other places, look down below. There's also some links to my Facebook and my Twitter and other accounts. And anyway, I hope this was helpful. Please let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching.